about to start with our next presenter who's sitting excited to start, Mr. Venkatesh Palakkad. He's a principal consultant and business head of RAB HR, an HR consulting firm operating out of the Middle East. He is also a senior HR professional right here in Oman with 30 years of international experience, of which 20 years have been with senior positions with large groups right here in the Middle East. He currently consults with several clients in the Middle East on talent management and people development projects, and is considered a pioneer in bringing technology and digital solutions for human resources. Clap louder than you did this morning. He deserves it. Let's welcome Mr. Venkatesh Palakkad.
Good afternoon, all of you. My session was supposed to be a good morning, but it's a good afternoon. Today, the speakers in the morning session spoke a lot, which probably gives the background of this topic we are going to talk today, which is basically working through the global skill shortage, a path through the wilderness. So we are all in a state of confusion with what has happened in the last couple of years, not really sure on how do we go, what do we do, what is right, what is the right path, and stuff like that. A cornerstone on demand, our principal, has been running this survey specifically on skills, which is the bedrock connect to performance and learning and stuff like that. For the last 2 years, they started during the pandemic. This survey basically is a global survey with a lot of insights into regions, and they have a special cut of data for Middle East and Europe, which I will rely on when I speak today, a lot on this presentation. The survey speaks about what's happening across the globe when it comes to skills, and what does the post-pandemic world look like when it comes to people, talent, skills, etc. So today, the takeaway, what you will have from today's session is, I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about something called as insights into high-performing organizations. I'll define what is high-performing organizations. Today, His Highness Dr. Adam mentioned about talent, how companies within Oman need to really leverage talent when it comes to performance. We will take some insights into across the globe, what do high-performing organizations basically do when it comes to talent? I'm going to use repeatedly two words. One is high-performing organizations. The other one is skill-confidence gap. I will define that as we go ahead. The other thing is, as I said, the employer versus employee confidence gap when it comes to skill. This is the second important thing. The third one is the current state of skill development around the world with particular reference to the Middle East. We will speak about it. And practical tactics from leading companies in terms of becoming a high-performing organization. So we can always see, what the Fortune 500 companies are doing differently when it comes to managing talent, leveraging internal talent, etc. And then how do they use it for improving the performance? This is again an evidence-based research. Nothing is something which I'm saying out of my own volition. This is all come out of a global research which has been conducted. What is a high-performing organization? Okay, let's define what's a high-performing organization. High-performing organizations are blazing a trail through unfamiliar and often uncharted territories that other organizations can follow and even improve upon. So they are basically path breakers. They are trendsetters. You can take any industry. They have kind of broken the barriers, they've broken the glass ceiling, got into things which other organizations have not been able to. So when you research these organizations, when it comes to real people practices, there are some very beautiful golden insights you get, and that's exactly what we're going to discuss today. Going to be very useful for everybody, especially HR professionals. So when we say high-performing organizations, a high-performing organization is basically typified by low turnover, high employee net promoter score. High-performing organizations also report a low employer-to-employee skill confidence. I will again explain what's the skill confidence. And also, these are organizations who really reacted well when it came to the COVID-19 responses. They invest heavily in their skills and strategy to grow, and high-performing organizations have a shorter skill confidence gap. And they have been able to deliver significantly higher results when it comes to profitability, etc. And Becoming a high-performance organization with demonstrated business results goes hand in hand with developing the skills of your workforce, and that got very evident in the survey. Before I get into the survey, I also wanted to kind of share this information with the group that the World Economic Forum basically has instituted a committee which is working on future skills. And they have been doing extensive work in the last 2 or 3 years on how does this post-pandemic world look, what are the new skills which is required, and what they have basically done is they have got 150 companies across the globe in 7 sectors, and these companies have been working on 5 or 6 different areas, which is basically transforming organization and work design, aligning new technology and skills, cultivate health and well-being, build human-centric leadership, and protect the workforce ecosystem. This information, whatever the World Economic Forum does, is available in the World Wide Web. Again, especially if you are involved in competencies, you are involved in skill building, please refer to this work done by the World Economic Forum. And there are specific verticals, especially banking, logistics, in which a lot of work has been done in terms of future skills which is required by organizations, and you could anchor on that and then look at working on your talent development plans and stuff like that. Basically, connecting to this, Cornerstone in the survey came up with something called as, instead of calling it as reskilling, upskilling, they came up with this term called as new skilling. New skilling represents all types of continuous learning to build high demand skills, whether an individual is trying to upskill current capabilities or they need complete reskilling to build new capabilities. So what today's new normal basically requires is new skilling. This is the number of people who responded region-wise. You see that Middle East is fairly well represented with 275 organizations. And we also had about 500 people across Middle East who represented this survey and contributed data to the survey. So what I'm going to tell you is fairly representative of the geography in terms of what we are kind of looking at. So a couple of major insights came out of this. Speed of digital transformation and skills shortage are highly rated in EMEA as most concerning, both employers and employees. Speed of digital transformation and skills shortage, okay? Again, pandemic has pushed in a lot of people deciding to move out. We have seen the great resignation happen. There's a Deloitte survey which says that 45% of the workforce which participated in the survey are thinking of either deciding to kind of move away or do something different or look for a different flexible work method and stuff like that, which is fairly large, which is again representative of the mindset which people have. 56% of overall employees signal that prioritization of skill development was definitely to occur in the organization in the next 1 or 2 years. And 30% of EMEA employees had already begun prioritizing skill developments when compared to 23-24%. So there's a lot of focus on skill development in the region, which is coming out. And again, what we have seen is high-performing organizations have 3 times more weightage when it comes to skill development. So pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, right? When this question was asked on, these 2 questions were asked. I have personally felt supported by my company and its policies as we respond to the pandemic. That's the first question. And our organization was effective in responding to the pandemic. So 2020, everybody felt that, yes, this is something which is just something which we'll be able to tide over. And the confidence level in terms of tiding over the challenges was pretty high, both from an employer's side and also from an employee side. But then as time progressed, 21 came, 22 came, we realized that the challenges are not very easy to kind of tide over. And added to it, we had the recession, we had the war, and so many other geopolitical features came into play. So if you see, the confidence level in terms of managing the pandemic to the best of its abilities has come down in terms of employers and employees. And I think that's also a reflection of how we feel we are at the moment. We are kind of slightly feeling helpless. because we really don't know what to kind of expect and stuff like that. And that's exactly what the world is feeling. So if you see there's a marked reduction in terms of confidence level of handling the challenges of pandemic across the globe and more so in the Middle East. So, okay, what is the employer-employee confidence gap? The confidence gap, as per the survey, is basically the confidence which employers have in terms of building skills for their employees and the confidence which the employees have on the employers in terms of the employer's ability to support them with skills, skill building which is necessary for running the organization. So if you see the confidence gap in what employers think that they will be able to build skills and what employees think the employers will be able to do is about 30% worldwide, which is quite huge. So while the employers are very confident that I will be able to handhold my employees in terms of whatever is required for the organizations, the employees don't think so. And they feel that they need to kind of work on it. And a marked difference between a high-performing organization and a not-so-high-performing organization is this confidence gap. So what was very evidently seen in high-performing organization is there's a lot of alignment between the thinking of employers and employees when it comes to skill building. The employees think the employees have all the capabilities, have all the intentions of giving them the required skills to tide over the challenges, and the employees also think likewise. So one indication which we have taken out of the report is the confidence which employers and employees have in terms of tiding over the pandemic. When we looked at what are the areas in which high-performing organizations are looking for training or looking for development and they feel more development is required, if you see here, the highest area in which employees feel that they need development is in terms of employee satisfaction and training. So these are two areas where high-performing organizations really felt that they need additional training. And this is what came out of the report. I also wanted to say that if you look at high-performing organizations, their reliance on training and development for increase of revenue is not very high, okay? I think that comes automatically. Their reliance on training, on customer service, on employee satisfaction is where the emphasis is. And the other ones are automatic offshoots of whatever happens. The other interesting insight is where do employees get training? Again, how does it differ from region to region? So if you look at Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and if you look at globally, you would see that one hallmark of the Middle East market is that compared to all the other markets, employees rely on their own managers to give them training. 38%, highest in terms of where are they expecting training to come from. Now, this is where I see a major challenge. How willing are line managers to train and upskill their own people? Again, challenges of what would happen to my job if somebody gets trained? Why should I train? It's somebody else's responsibility. So are we really preparing managers and line managers good enough to share knowledge and improve their own employees? Are we ensuring that this particular aspect is put in their KPIs? Are we motivating and incentivizing managers to train people? This is a food for thought for all of us. Because again, a lot of reliance is on managers. If you see across the globe, you would also see that self-learning, that's my own interest. I'm learning. I'm going. I know I need to improve my skills. So I go to the web. I join for courses, which is very high in other parts of the world. But in the Middle East, employees still feel the employers should handhold them and take them forward when it comes to learning. Again, the responsibility lies on L&D departments and HR to do it. This may shift, but then it's more of push learning as we go forward. Another very good question was asked on what do you think is development? From an employee perspective, what do you think development means? 97% of high-performance organization felt improving employee growth is considered as development. And you'd see help meet business goals is development. Provide employees with a guided personal career trajectory. Again, coming back to skills and where you want your employees to go is a 95% confirmed area, and giving employees the ability to acquire skills that interest them. Again, we come back to the responsibility of employers in ensuring that you skill your employees in terms of where do you want to take them and where do you want to take the organization to take them. Based on this study, there are 6 or 7 key takeaways which we as organizations should focus. Number one is focus on the future. Where are we going? What are we doing? I said, look at already done work like what the World Economic Forum has done. Anchor a lot of work which you're planning to do on research technologies. Number two is integrate it with your other career development tools. If you have your skills completely lying separate, not connected to your performance, not connected to your learning, not connected to your compensation, it's of no use. The skill or the differentiating factor is how well are you integrating it with your other career development tools. Very, very important. And the third one is create a culture of skill building and growth. A learning culture, skill building culture should just come in right from the CEO. Everybody should learn. And all forms of learning, formal learning, informal learning, continuous learning, academic learning, all should be encouraged. This would be your backbone when it comes to differentiating you with other employees. When we do research of high-performing employees, look at Fortune 500 employees, okay? Their reliance on training, reliance on development, reliance on skill building is very high. You take any Fortune 500. Their HR departments and the learning departments are the strongest. This was completely echoed by all the speakers who spoke in the morning. Talent is one key pivot which makes the difference. And when you say talent, within talent, skill becomes an extremely finer element which differentiates you better to the best. And the fourth point is provide more relevant, modern, and personalized content. This is where technology plays a role. You have wonderful, not very expensive technologies nowadays, which brings you training. Today's afternoon session is going to focus on experience platforms, learning experience platform, new technology, right? How there is so much of knowledge available in the world, but we are not taking it. We don't curate it. Knowledge is available, but I don't know what to take for what in a cogent way. So experience platform does this. It does this using AI. Again, not cost prohibitive. Look at technology to ensure that you give right skills. Sometimes it becomes humanly impossible to connect so many data points, then come to what should I do? Use technology, use available information, leverage on that and take things forward. Again, this is very, very important, and sometimes I see organizations invest a lot of money in talent building, but when it comes to internal hiring, it's possibly non-existence or it's just a tick-of-the-box exercise which happens. Again, you're defeating your own purpose of building talent, right? If you do not have an internal first hiring policy, what's the purpose of building talent? You're going to build talent so that they go and work for somebody else. Somebody mentioned it in the morning session. So if you do not have a robust, committed, sincere internal hiring policy. Companies like Procter & Gamble do 80% of their senior level positions fulfilled from within. Again, it's a double-edged sword. You would say that I don't have talent within, so how do I recruit? Then you should ask your question, what have you done to build that talent so that you don't go running outside? And today there's also a challenge going outside. People are not willing to come. And the right kind of people whom you want to hire are not available, or they're cost prohibitive. We would be discussing that more in the panel on the importance of developing internal talent and grooming your own people in terms of taking high responsibility becomes very important. And that is also something we have evidently seen that high-performing organizations do it very well. So very quickly, these are some snippets. What do you see as differentiating factors with high-performing organizations? One is, as I said, the skill confidence gap is very less. It's just 9% or 9.5%. Again, they have understood and they mastered the art of aligning employee expectations and deliver skills to their employees in a meaningful way. There's a culture of building skills and growth within the organization. And they are willing to invest money across a wide variety of skill development. They don't stinge when it comes to skill development and investing in technology, investing in skill building initiatives, investing in formal education is also a hallmark of high-performing organization. And they also see the value which skill building and talent initiatives finally results in the overall business. As I said, they don't train people to do profits. They don't train people to increase revenue. That's an offshoot that automatically happens. They build on skills required for several other things. So that's again a hallmark which we see in high-performing organizations. To conclude, there are 4 points. Number one is alignment of skills to positions and roles. If you're not really sure what position and what role needs what skills, if you as an organization are not very clear, then it's very difficult to develop. So you need to have very clear direction on what is your alignment of skills versus roles. That's number one, which means that you need to put a little more efforts on doing your JDs properly, mapping it to skills, mapping it to competencies, a little bit of basic work, but it's required to be done. Number two is a structured skill building resource. You need a skill building resource. You can't just say that it should happen. What have you done? Do you have a system? Do you have people who can help in the skill building exercise? Are you anchoring your systems with world-class systems like the World Economic Forum, NASSCOM? There are so many different skill taxonomies which are available today. Are you aligning them? There are industry-specific skill taxonomies available. Are you looking at them, etc.? Third one is do regular skill assessments and mapping. Unless and until you know what skills your employees have and map them, it's very difficult to say that somebody is ready, not ready, and stuff like that. So regular skill assessments, again, technology would play a very important role in how do you do it, especially for larger organizations. And lastly, maintain and develop an internal talent pool for senior roles and do it wholeheartedly. Just don't do a tick of the box exercise when it comes to filling roles from within. Out of research, we have seen that this is what would differentiate you from an organization to an high-performing organization. Thank you very much. This is my LinkedIn Connect. Would be happy to stay connected with you and happy to have discussions and happy to kind of help you in terms of skill building, talent building, etc. The panel discussion today is going to go into details of what are we doing from a practitioner's point of view, where we are talking about internal talent and what are we doing as organizations to develop internal talents and the challenges. Thank you very much. So happy to present.